All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show started. Welcome in. Rob Toronto's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Brown, back in the network studio. Colonel Grush, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate. He is the great one, Lonzo. Zo, what's up, big fella?
I just looked up and noticed that herpes is trending for politics, and I don't know if I should click on it or not.
That sentence was a roller coaster of emotion for me.
Yeah.
A roller coaster. It started off with, oh, that's interesting. Then it turned to, oh no, Twitter trending topics. And then it turned to, but in politics, somebody's having a really bad day today. What a ride Zoe just took us on emotionally with that sentence. Yeah, so that's how we're going to start today, ladies and gentlemen. Not with herpes, but with a reference to how the topics is going to go at least.
Yeah, let's hope we're not starting today with herpes, because it's not a good way to start today.
I wouldn't know, Zoe.
Me either.
I wouldn't know.
But chances are someone out there may. Hey, I mean, you know.
And that's not a judgment. That's not a judgment. I'm just saying. It is what it is. How about we talk about, I don't know, Lonzo, anything else? Just anything else at all in the universe would be fine with me. I am Rob Brown. He is Lonzo, the Rob Brown Show on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Thanks for hanging out with us. You are having yourself a fabulous day so far today. A good week. We are all and running. Lots of ways to get in touch with the show today. 844-GSP-ESPN's the phone number. 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307. 71307. Tweet us at the Rob Brown Show. At Lonzo Word and at ESPN Upstate. All the different ways to get in touch with us. Follow us on all the social media. All the social media at ESPN Upstate, Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, Instagram.com/ESPN Upstate, etc. Busy day on the broadcast. A lot of stuff we need to get into and talk about. We spent some time yesterday on a question that I'm going to ask today, because I really only got to ask it of the folks who were listening towards the end of the show. So I'm gonna ask again today. Yesterday we played you some audio. We played you some audio from Frank Martin as he went through the press conference motions, the wrap up of the season, the announcement of his extension, and all that good stuff. Where do we stand now? Where do we stand now? I said yesterday. I got into a conversation about Frank Martin. We got into a conversation about Shane Beamer. We got into a discussion about approaching spring training. And I'm going to bring this back up in the next segment to officially ask it as a question. But I have asked the question, is it fair of your boy Rob Brown to expect Nate demand that South Carolina have the same expectations for success on the field of athletics as the Clemson Tigers do? I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to give you why my thoughts are yes, coming up in the next segment. And I want to hear from you specifically, you South Carolina fans, folks that are Clemson fans of other schools, can chime in as well. With all that being said, Lonzo, let's start that little song and dance that we like to start with.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys hear? It's a scuttlebutt.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch.
It is the lunch break. Down the three things you have to know before you go start talking with your friends, family, coworkers, the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. This scuttlebutt around the lunch table. We begin with item number one. Can we talk about Steph Curry, please? 30 or more points. for 11 straight games, has out for the most consecutive games with 30 points. For a player over the age of 33, knocks Kobe Bryant down off of that list as number one in that spot. Dude has been playing at an all-star NBA level all season long. And just as much a factor in this recent run, the contributions from Andrew Wiggins finished his game with 16 points. Damian Lee, 12 off the bench. Center Kevin Looney recorded a career high 15 as the Warriors knocked the 76ers last night. Now the Sixers were missing a couple of key pieces. We knew that Joel Embiid was back, but Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris were both out with a sickness and a knee injury, respectively. But check out this stat line for Steph Curry. For Steph, 8th 40-point game of the season. 11th straight game with 30 plus point game of the season. 11th straight game with 30. Snaps Kobe Bryant's record for a player 34 years or older. 46 three-pointers in the last 5 games is a new NBA record. And it became the first player in league history to make 10 or more three-pointers 4 times in a 5-game span. Steve Kerr said, it's the same thing after every game. It's just utter amazement. My skill level, heart, mind, focus. It's just amazing to watch and quote. Look, I don't care if you're not an NBA fan. I don't care. If you're not a Warriors fan. I don't care if you're not a Steph Curry fan. Lonzo, what that cat is doing right now with a basketball is otherworldly at this point.
All right, I had hoped you wouldn't come to me, but of course you're going to, and you've given me the moniker Colonel Grudge, and so I must live up to said moniker. I do not like Steph Curry. I will never like Steph Curry. I acknowledge that what he's doing is possibly historic, but back in the day, Curry beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, and as a result, I had to wear a dress. So I will never, ever, and I mean ever, I will never give him props to the extent of what he deserves because of that.
No respect for just a
He's also a big whiny baby that chews on his binky and he throws it up on the crowd. Take away the 3-point shot.
He's just a big whiny baby who chews on his binky and then throws it at people in the crowd.
He also pouts more than anybody in the NBA.
Okay, that's just patently untrue.
Oh no, it's not. So
I'm a LeBron stan, and Braun knees
No, he does not. I mean, and here's the thing. Even LeBron is upset about a call or something, he doesn't look like he's going to cry and chew on his binky like Steph Curry does.
I will acknowledge that I was always a serious chewer. I don't know why. It was just I went through pieces at like rate of 1 a game. So I get it. Look, fine. You can hold the grudge. You can hate the guy. You can call him whatever. You can be Colonel Grudge here. The reality of this is that Steph Curry's doing incredible things with basketball. You don't have to like that he's doing it, but he's doing it. Item number two. There are now 20 teams that have elected in the NFL to participate in voluntary OTAs. The Carolina Panthers, not one of them. Yesterday, the Miami Dolphins, their players opt out of in-person workouts this offseason through the NFLPA's Twitter account. Dolphins released a statement that our team came together to discuss the current situation regarding COVID-19 and the lack of protocols put into place by the NFL. The most significant fact from that discussion was the health and safety benefits of a fully virtual offseason. Last year, league-wide injury data showed players experiencing a 23% reduction in missed time. For these reasons, the Miami Dolphins stand in solidarity with players across the league who are making informed decisions, exercise their right not to attend voluntary in-person workouts this offseason. We will hold each other accountable and making sure every player is getting their ins up. And quote, the Dolphins are now the 20th team who have voted to stand in solidarity with players not reporting for in-person work. While that does not mean that the entire team has decided not to attend in-person workouts, it suggests that many, if not most, will not. The other 12 teams have remained silent on the issue, although silence on the issue likely means that their players have either voted in favor of OTAs, voluntary OTAs, or have not taken a vote yet at all, and what the players do as they wish. The NFL offseason program began yesterday across the league, with the first part of the program being virtual. So this part of the program is not at all an issue, regardless of whether players show up or not. What is being discussed here is players missing with this opt-out some on-field work that begins on May 17th and the 4 weeks that follow, with 10 OTA, that is organized team activity sessions, meetings, and then veteran camp. The veteran camp is mandatory according to the collective bargaining agreement. We will see what happens between now and then. But you are aware, while the voluntary OTAs are not required for, it is not required for players to show up. Some of them have taken that vote anyway. Yesterday, we told you about the fact that Sam Darnold was already out in California working alongside Christian McCaffrey to get into rhythm. Well, he and McCaffrey and a handful of other players have now reported to Charlotte. We know that Jeremy Chin is there. Defensive Eric Brown was there yesterday as well. Panthers players who report were able to go to the facility and weight room with capacity limits and for strength and conditioning, but no actual on-field work can begin. Yet meetings are being held virtually. That will continue for 4 weeks in phase one. That last that's when we get to phase two, which is when on the field training activities and the mandatory training sessions begin. So Carolina, Lonzo has decided, or at least the players have not outwardly said that they are boycotting any of the OTAs through the COVID protocols. But the team leaders, Brown, Chin, Darnold, McCaffrey, they are all in Charlotte. They are getting their workouts on right now. They are getting into rhythm, getting ready for that May 14th switch to phase two. Look, I respect the decisions of the players who elected not to show up. I also respect the decisions of the Run CMCs and the Sam Darnold, who said, let's get to work.
All right, this is one of those things you got to be careful about, because when they first during COVID, when they first were decided to go to virtual practices, my first thought was they will never do OTAs again. And here's the reason why is because the players are like, okay, obviously we don't need those. The next thing they're going to try to not do will be training camp. And this is more about veterans than anybody, because they don't go to training camp. Any NFL player that you've ever heard, present or who used to play, all say they hate training camp. And now they have history to look back on and go, hey, look, we didn't have training camp, and we still pulled off an NFL season. And don't try to pretend like those first 4 or 5 games where the play on the field was horrible didn't exist. And watch. No OTAs. Watch teams try to get out of training camp, and they're going to use COVID as a reason.
Well, if that comes to fruition, it will be very interesting, Lonzo, because as of now, the actual training camps are mandated by the bargaining agreement. That is the players union has collectively bargained. So they must show up to training camps as they stand right now. The question will be when the next round of CBAs come up. At that point, will the players try to bargain a reduction in training camp? We need less training camp. And so I would argue that their argument has been bolstered by lengthening the season, right? All right. You're going to make us play more games. That's fine. But we want 2 weeks less training camp mandate. We say you do a 2-week training camp, not a 4 or 6, whatever it is. The next CBA is going to, with all the changes the NFL has made, based on the old CBA, the new CBA is going to be, let's say, interesting to watch it be negotiated out. Finally, item number 3. We have the newest development in the Deshaun Watson case, and what amounts to the most substantial legal response date from Deshaun's attorneys regarding the 2020 civil lawsuits filed against him. The NFL quarterback's attorney said yesterday that he believes that all 22 women in Watson of sexual misconduct are lying. Houston attorney Rusty Hart said in a statement about the legal filing that, quote, Today we answered the lawsuit filed against our client, Deshaun Watson. Mr. Watson has been adamant that he did not engage in any improper conduct, and we strongly believe him. Therefore, the answer to the question of whether we are saying that all 22 plaintiffs are lying about the allegations of sexual misconduct by Mr. Watson is a resounding yes. End quote. The counter-accusation comes on the heels of Watson's 22 accusers all complying with judicial orders last week to reveal their identities in the cases, finally compelled the first counterpunch from the quarterback's defense team on Monday, with Harden filing official response to the litigation of Ashley Salas, who was the first woman to bring a civil suit against Watson and the first woman to be identified as such. In that filing, which Harden titled Defendant Deshaun Watson's original answer, the quarterback's defense alleges plaintiffs saw an opportunity for a money grab and each tailored their recollection of interactions with Watson to support civil litigation against him. The filing comes with a summary of counter allegations against the women, who have filed suits against Watson with an interference. The quarterback's defense team has been able to take apart the story of each accuser now that their identities have become part of the record. Harden attempts to drive that point home with a brief indexing of claims that divide Watson's accusers into different subgroups based on their alleged behavior surrounding the incidents spelled out in civil suits. Within that indexing, Harden quote, after the massage therapy session with Mr. Watson, 8 plaintiffs bragged about, and were excited about massaging Mr. Watson. 7 plaintiffs willingly worked with Mr. Watson after their alleged incident. 3 plaintiffs lied about the number of sessions they actually had with Mr. Watson. 3 plaintiffs lied about their alleged trauma and result. 5 plaintiffs told others they wanted to get money out of Mr. Watson, and 5 plaintiffs have scrubbed or entirely deleted their social media accounts. End quote. The crux of Harden's accusation against Salas and more broadly against the entire group of all 22 women is that all the women had encounters with Watson either unremarkable sessions, consensual sexual contact, but are now lying about the extract money from the quarterback, and Harden claims to have evidence or testimony to prove it in each end quote. So, by the way, for the record, Busby has yet to respond to requests for comments about the filing that took place yesterday. And so that's where we stand. Look, if Rusty Hart is going to come forward, I don't think that some of those things are necessarily. I don't think that some of those things are necessarily jail-free cards if hard the punt. Deleting and scrubbing social media doesn't surprise me. We have seen in the past the way that the public has responded to women who have claimed sexual assault. It's not pretty. Booking another session is not necessarily indicative that nothing happened. I mean, they may have been very well forgive it in order to continue to have an NFL client, etc. I don't know that any of this wipes the slate clean, Lonzo, but I absolutely do think that it kind of moved the needle back towards the neutral ground of the argument, if you will.
I see what you're saying, but we're getting back and forth. One day it's more towards one day, the other day it leans towards other, and we're not going to really know anything until trial, especially if it's made public, and then we're going to learn all kinds of things. Maybe some things we don't want to learn. And I have a question, and I may just be dumb on this, but if you hire someone to come and give a massage and it turns into sensual sex, isn't it a condition? Because you've just paid someone to come to your house to do said act, or is it just coincidence?
That's a really good question. I'm not an attorney, nor did I stay in Holiday Inn Express last night, right? Like if I hire,
because this is the first I've heard that there was actual consensual things going on.
Yeah.
Because before there was nothing. It was strictly massages.
Rusty Harden has now said a few times that there were some sexual encounters between I want to say maybe three of the women. There were sexual encounters, but he said that they were consensual, and the women consented to those encounters with Deshaun Watson, and that they will have no ability to prove contrary. So this, we'll talk more about it later on. This is going to get uglier before court case. But we are really late for a break. When we come back here in a second, I asked a question yesterday on the show. Asked a question yesterday on the show. Ask it again. Is it fair of your boy Rob Brown to expect same level of success for South Carolina that I expect for the Crumbs and Tigers? Talk about that when we come back to the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
Let us talk about weight loss. Now, don't turn away because and you're not confident in denial because you lose weight. Your family knows you need to lose weight. Your friends, your coworkers know you need to lose weight. You by telling you how that weight, and here's how it's in 30 days, guaranteed, or your money back. I'm just saying. In 90 days, you're going to look phenomenal. In 90 days, man, you are going to look amazing. You're going to be able to lose the weight that you need to lose. I know something about losing weight. I used to weigh nearly 400 pounds. I lost 200 pounds. I'm kind of an expert on getting fat and losing weight. And the health there, they're going to get you. It's a plan. It's a simple plan. So simple, anyone can do it. When you go Gonzo is absolutely right. This is so easy that I can do it because you can bring someone with you. You can bring a friend, a coworker, a relative. You pay half, they pay half. It's buy one, get one free. You guys both get the You're going to look good. You're going to feel good. You are going to have the energy to face this. You need to do it today. It's called the health. Here's how you get hold of the health there. You go to idareme.com, fill out some information, which will bring you in for a free consultation, get you on the way to losing that weight. And it is buy one, get one free. All right, so I'm seeing things that you can watch the first 7 minutes of Mortal Kombat right now. No, what does that mean? Does that mean we don't think you really are going to like the movie just on the trailers alone? But if you watch the first 7 minutes, you're going to be hooked? Is that?
Wait. Who said I wasn't going to like the movie?
No. This is in general. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everyone. I mean, why else do you release the first 7 minutes of a movie?
I haven't seen a trailer yet that I wasn't pumped about.
Yeah, same here. Because this thing comes out in a couple of days. The fact that they're releasing the first 7 minutes, I'm just trying to figure out what their end game is with that. It's got to be people they believe are on the fence, and they think if you watch the first 7 minutes, you're going to be hooked, and you're absolutely going to watch the entire movie. So that says there's going to be a lot of action in the first 7 minutes, obviously.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
$21,307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio is the ESPN Upstate, Rob Alonso, and you. So, yesterday on the show, we heard comments from Shane Beamer, Martin. They were talking basketball respectively. And we had there was a part from the press conference with Frank Martin where they were announcing discussing. It was announced last week the 2-year contract extension that also took in consideration the buyout. It reduces the buyout in half next year down to $3 million. The 2 years remaining on the contract after that. There is no buyout. So if South Carolina was to elect to move on at that point, then they would not owe Frank Martin any money. It also takes a buyout clause out for Frank Martin, making it easier for him to leave the contract should he elect to do so within the next 4 years. So during the first part of that press conference, Frank Martin said, "When I got here, I promised nothing to the university except our players would play hard. I did not play hard. I did not promise Final Fours. I did not promise national championships. I promised nothing to South Carolina except our players would play hard, and you would be proud of the players." As they wore the jersey. And Zoe and I got into a discussion about that, in which I said, yeah, that's pretty much the baseline expectation, dude. That's pretty much the baseline expectation. That's the least that we expect out of the head basketball coach at South Carolina or any other program. Yes, I expect you to put together a team of guys that are going to play hard and make me proud to rep the U. Of course, I am. But that is not the least of my expectations. That is just the first. That's the foundation. And to me, Zoe, I hate to be critical, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to Frank Martin if it comes across this way. I'm not intending it to be. But to me, that sounds like the talk of a guy who thinks, yeah, well, I can't do that. I can't do that here. Right? Now, it's one thing to underpromise and overdeliver, right? Frank Martin can go out there and say, I never promised you Final Fours and NIT championships and Sweet 16s and Elite 8s if he was also turning in those things. Trust me, I fully understand the premise of underpromise and overdeliver. I get it. It's a strategy. But it's not like Frank Martin's doing that, right? We talked about it. With the exception of 2 years in the middle of the 9 that he's been on campus, he had 2 years in the middle. 1 year where they went to the NIT and they got bounced in the second round. And 1 year where they made it to the Final Four. And don't get me wrong, spectacular run, great run to be on. Any team would be thrilled to have a Final Four in the recent back pocket, of course. But that's it. An NIT where they got bounced in the second round and a Final Four run that a lot, and I'm not one of them, but I've heard a lot of people call fluky, right? It was a fluky Final Four run. I'm not saying it was, but I know a lot of people say that it was. It is one thing, though, to underpromise and overdeliver. It is another thing to underpromise and yet still somehow underdeliver. And I feel like that's what Frank Martin did. And I feel like that's what those comments sounded like yesterday. It sounded like a guy who recognized and recognizes that he has been under-delivering and is trying to lower the bar even further to keep himself safe? Am I being too harsh, Lonzo?
You know what I've been wondering, especially while you're talking about this, is when he was in the interview to get this job, what were the expectations given to him? Was he told, hey, we expect the Final Four here? Was he told we expect a deep run in the NCAA? Was he told we expect you to compete for the SEC title? I'm thinking maybe he wasn't. Maybe his expectations were for his team to play hard and get out there and do their best. Maybe that's all it was. And we weren't in the interview process. So maybe he is meeting the expectations that the athletic director handed him when he hired him.
I can't imagine that's true, but for the sake of a discussion, Lonzo, let's say it is. Let's say that when he got hired, that he talked to the athletic department and they said, really, we just want you to show up and have the team play hard. You know what that says to me, Zoe? That the athletic department needs to go too. That's what that says to me. Says to me the athletic department needs to get replaced too. If your goal, and I don't care what level you're at, if your goal, whether it's realistic or not, isn't to be the best, then what is the point? Start a social club. If your athletic department is happy with play hard and represent the university well, then scrap the athletics program and just put all the money into an intramural club.
I am not defending Frank Martin, but at the same time, you see what you got from him the first few seasons and the last few seasons. If those were not the expectations, why is he still there? If he's not meeting expectations?
That's a beautiful question, Zoe. It's a beautiful question. And the answer either way is somebody needs to lose their job. All right? Either way, that's my response. If Frank Martin is meeting expectations, and your expectations are every 9 years we make the NIT once and we make the tournament once, then your expectations are bad. They're too low. They should be higher. You should be actively moving them up. And if your expectations are we expect to make the tournament more than once every 9 years, then I expect you to bring in a coach that's going to help you get there. And before you hit me with the, well, if you fire Frank Martin, who are you going to hire, Rob? I don't know. I know there's 10,000 assistant college basketball coaches out there that are thirsty for a job.
And let's face it, it's not that hard to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Coaching, I mean, he's 50-50.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
Yeah, I agree. You're telling me you couldn't go find an assistant coach that's not capable of going 500? Because that's basically, with the exception of those 2 years, Frank Martin's a 500 ball coach. With the exception of the 2-year run in the middle. Out of 9, he's a 500 coach. You add those 2 years in, it creeps up to about 62%, 63%. Is that good enough for you? Now, that leads me to the question I asked yesterday. I'll ask it here. I'm looking for Gamecocks fans to chime in. Hell, I'm looking for Clemson fans and independent fans of other schools to pop in. Here's my question for you. Is it fair of me to have the same expectations for the University of South Carolina that I do for Clemson? I look at South Carolina, and we can start with basketball, but I think this is true of the athletics department as a whole. I can look at South Carolina, and let's start with basketball. I can look at South Carolina and Clemson. And if Brad Brownell can take his Tigers to the tournament once every 2 or 3 years, I don't see any reason to believe that South Carolina can. If Brad Brownell, even though the SEC has made strides in catching up with the ACC in terms of basketball, if Brad Brownell can take Clemson and make them competitive in the Atlantic Coast Conference, There is no reason that Frank Martin can't take South Carolina and make them competitive in the Southeastern Conference. If Brad Brownell can go out there and get a couple of second and third round appearances in the AC or in the NCAA tournament, I see no reason that Frank Martin can't do the same at South Carolina. You are recruiting from the same area, the same players. You are bringing in the same athletes, or at least you should be. You have the ability to. The resources for the basketball program in South Carolina, maybe I'm wrong on this, but nobody's told me I am yet, appear to be similar enough. It's not like South Carolina is just being overwhelmed by what Clemson throws at the basketball program. I see zero reason why the expectations for the Gamecocks of South Carolina should be any lower than the expectations for the Clemson Tigers. None at all. South Carolina fans, agree or disagree. Clemson fans, agree or disagree. Fans of other schools from other parts of the country. Those of you like me who have a neutral stance on this. Based on your experience with these two programs since you've been here, what are your thoughts? 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. Is it unfair for Rob Brown to have the same expectations about Clemson or about South Carolina that I do of Clemson? There's your question. Quick break. We're back after this. Rob Lonzo, this is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app. Download the app and make ESPN Upstate a favorite for 24/7 real, unfiltered sports talk.
So does it feel weird to have music back?
No. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It feels more normal.
Cool. So let you know herpes is still trending.
I need you to know I'm genuinely trying to figure out how to address that if it's still trending when we get there, because I don't know. I don't know how. I decided to go no cap today, though, because I got to say I'm kind of having a good hair day today.
I have noticed that that there's no hat in. Yes, the hair is on point, on fleek. I don't know what the kids say these days. Something like that.
The stream numbers are down today, and I don't know why.
Tuesday. Did you fix the echo?
Yep. Echoes.
Okay. But still, the fact is we're still on in the middle of the day. So, I mean, it's not going to be phenomenal.
Right. I need to make a promo. Mark told me I could make a promo about the stream. I was in the Thunderdome last night. Did I tell you that?
You did not.
I was in the Thunderdome last night. I saw myself on TV once.
I am curious about how that works because I've thought about doing it, but
I'll tell you, I did it once. I'm good. I'm done. I don't need to. I'm not going to go out of my way for it again. Basically, you're watching Raw on your computer, right? It doesn't give you like a. I thought it would give you like a fan cam, right? Like a but it doesn't. You're just watching Raw. You still hear the commentary, everything. The only thing that's different is there is a producer who is like giving you cues about when to cheer and boo, and like I didn't like it because he was telling us who to cheer and who to boo, right? Like at one point,
we've got to bring this up. Thursday.
I was going to bring it up third hour, but we can.
No. Bring it up third hour because I don't know what we're doing exactly Thursday formatically, which we need to talk about. So, coming back.
Formatically?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's Rob, it's Lonzo, it's you, it's ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, all around the world on the Odyssey app. That's right, the Odyssey app is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app and listen to your favorite music, news, sports, podcasts, and of course, definitely, most importantly, ESPN Upstate. Around the clock, don't miss a minute of live broadcasting. The Rob Brown Show with Rob Alonzo, Offsides with Diesel and Mark Ryan. They are carried live every day on the Odyssey app. Download it now on your phone. AUDACY, Odyssey, AUDACY. If you already had the radio.com app, don't worry about it. It updated on its own for you. But if you didn't, get the Odyssey app. Plus, go to our website, ESPNUpstate.com, ESPNUpstate.com. Every day we update it with the most important sports news for you, the sports fans of upstate South Carolina. And right up there at the top of the page, there's a little button that says podcast. You click on that button and you can download every hour of the Rob Brown Show and Offsides with Mark Ryan at your discretion. It is on demand. Download. Take us with you to the gym, to the oil change place while you're sitting in line to pick up the kids from school, and you can listen to every hour of Offsides and the Rob Brown Show as you wish to do so. It's just that simple, ladies and gentlemen. ESPNUpstate.com. So I've asked you guys the question, is it unfair of me to have the same expectations for the Gamecocks of South Carolina's athletic department as I do of the Clemson Tigers athletic department? Here's a couple of texts that have come in so far at ESPN. One would think that Clemson would have an advantage from strictly a location standpoint, as it offers a lake and other fun activities where USC is unable to offer that. 18-year-olds want to go somewhere it's flashy, end quote. I don't know, and I'll tell you the truth, I haven't made it over to the campi of the University of South Carolina yet. I haven't gotten to see the campus, though. I don't know if you have any more experience with it than I do. I am not an 18-year-old. In fact, now that I've said that, I've just made the realization, Lonzo, that I am 18 years removed from being an 18-year-old, and now my everything hurts. But
I just got to say, I'm so far removed from 18, I can't do the math.
Lonzo said on fleek during the break, for the record. That's why you got to join us in the stream to hear things like Lonzo say on fleek when we're having our off-air conversations. So I don't know. I can tell you when it was time for me to make my college selection, the party scene was absolutely a big part of the choice. I wanted to go somewhere where it was cool, where stuff was happening, where stuff was popping. You know what I mean? That being said, I also know that I am not necessarily representative of every college kid out there. I'm sure there are plenty that have a huge difference in why they like and want to pick the schools that they like and they want to pick. I don't know. Maybe it gives a little bit of a leg up in that Clemson has a lake, I guess. But like Columbia is not that far from here.
This is obvious bias from someone who prefers a lake over, downtown and 5 Points and all the things that South Carolina offers. Sure. I mean, there are some people who like being out on the farm, and there are some people who like being in the city. Sure. That's just how it goes.
You're not wrong. I will tell you, I'm a water guy. I was likely to pick a school that's closer to the water than not. But a lake doesn't hold appeal to everybody. I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. I think we're spending a lot of time on that. At ESPN, as a Gamecock fan, we should not have a why not us mentality. Our athletic facilities are as good, if not better, and our coaches should be demanded to deliver, end quote. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have, as far as I'm concerned, every resource that Clemson has. You should be demanding the same level of excellence, I think that's my entire point.
See, this isn't necessarily a South Carolina and Clemson thing. This is any school, any sport. You want to win it all. That should be the mentality. It shouldn't be, okay, we just want it to be pretty good. No, you want to win the championship. You want to win everything. It should be that way. And they're right. The facilities are there, and that's a draw to bring the talent there. But when the talent's there, you got to have the coaches on the field to be able to teach them, and on the court to teach them how to win. And that hasn't happened lately in some sports.
At ESPN, Carolina will never, ever compete. By the way, that's a quote from the text, Lonzo. Will never, ever compete at a high level in football or basketball. Never. Just look at the better options in their conference and in the state.
Wait. I just got to stop for a second. Ever in football, there was a time when Spurrier was there where they were ranked in the top 5. There was a time when they beat number 1 Alabama. There was a time when they beat Clemson 5 years in a row. So, sorry. Ever implies it's never been done, and it has been done. They have won there in football. Obviously, they win in women's basketball. Their baseball team right now is, I think, 24-10. So don't say that it's never happened before, because it has. And they've won championships, just not in football, but they've been there. They were right on the edge of it. It isn't like it's, you're so far deep in the hole, you're looking up that you can't see the daylight. They were there. It was within grasp. They just didn't quite get it done. They've been there once before. They can get there again and go beyond that.
Listen to Zoe, Mr. Optimism himself. Back half of that text, just look at the better options in their conference and in the state for the campus life experience. Be happy you reach 500 seasons because that's your best accomplishment, end quote. I don't know, man. I mean,
and if you ask these people, whether it's text or message, to put the team that they root for by their message, then it would be telling about who sent that message more than likely.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess that you're wrong. I wouldn't guess that you're wrong. I would assume that's probably a Clemson fan. I've yet, unfortunately, to make it over to Columbia. Like I said, I'm planning on being Saturday there for the spring game. If it shakes out to where I can make it. If I do, I will take the day to take a tour of the campus and check it out. But again, in terms of somebody who is going there to be a football player, yes, football players are people too. They want the cool bars and the parties and the hot chicks and all that. All right, let's not be naive here. But at the same time, I don't know if you've ever been to let's say Gainesville, Florida. You ever been down to not to rub on Mark Ryan here? You ever been to Gainesville, Florida, Lonzo?
I have not, but if I were to go, I would ask Mark to go with me because he was there 7 years, so he would know where everything is.
Gainesville, Florida has the campus. That's it. That's what's there. There's nothing else there. And there are plenty of other schools with success in football that don't have like incredible campuses or incredible cities. It's just a campus, right? That's not an excuse to me. Quick break. Back after this to wrap up the hour. Is it fair to place the same expectations that I have for Clemson on South Carolina? Your thoughts are welcome. 844-GSP ESPN. Text them in to 71307. Start your checks with ESPN. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
All right, what is formatically different for Thursday?
Thursday and Friday are radiothon. So
that's right.
Yeah, so okay. I don't know. In years past, we've done sports also, but there are other things that we're talking about in between. So I also sent you something on Twitter.
I just saw that. Yes. How long's that video? I can pull it up.
It's short.
There was a when you at the start of your last sentence, you said there was a time, and you know how we talked about how sometimes if you hear a song lyric, your brain just immediately clicks into the start of whatever the song or the lyric in question. As soon as you said that, all I heard was Steven Tyler going, "There was a time when I was so broken heart," and now that song's stuck in my head on repeat.
See, I'm like, where is he going? And then as soon as you kind of went into the Steven Tyler cadence, I'm like, oh, okay.
All right, for those of you on the stream, of which there are none right now, but there will be people watching this back later, Lonzo has enlightened me of a tweet. Black bear chases biker. I guess this is it right here. This looks horrifying. We're going to have to wait through an ad, I am sure. I don't know why it put it down here. I want to watch it up here on the big video. There we go. All right. Let's see what we got down here. That bear. Oh, maybe he is chasing the guy. Oh, he definitely is. Okay, I was going to say that bear was just running. Whoo. I don't know, Zoe. I don't think that...
watching it a couple more times, it's almost like the bear just happens to be running that direction.
Yeah, that's what my first thought.
I don't know if he's necessarily chasing the guy. Maybe there's more to the video later on as they go over the hill. But I think as long as dude's aware, he can get away from that bear. And who was filming it?
It had to be a helicopter, but like, why was there a helicopter? Unless it was just hanging out and was like, oh crap, look at that.
Or it could be a drone. But if it were a helicopter, is that the reason why the bear's running? I'm thinking bears might be scared of helicopters. I don't know.
I would assume so.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm disappointed that there wasn't a mauling. I'm glad that there was no violence, just a chase. I don't want it to sound like I wanted to see blood. No.
No violence, just the chase.
Maybe a swipe and a nick of the tire, and dude still held on and was able to, right the bike and get out of there. That would have been a little more entertaining. I blame that on the director.
Everybody on the stream, what's up? Thanks for hanging out with us. To those of you watching this in the future, Terminator.
I know people are listening because I'm getting some Gamecock love. So, 30 seconds.
Real, unfiltered sports talk brewed locally.
Oh my God, a hipster! Bring him a microbrew, quick!
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Wrapping up hour number 1. The Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate. Rob and Lonzo and you, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us at 71307. Got a text about Deshaun Watson that I will read coming up in the next hour of the show. And we're going to keep on this conversation. We'll check back in off and on the text line. But again, I've asked you the question, is it fair of me to place the same expectations on South Carolina that I have for Clemson? I expect personally that the Gamecocks, with the resources and the finances they have, should be on par, at least in even if you just want to keep it in basketball and not look football, because what Clemson is doing in football right now is akin to winning the freaking Powerball. All right, let's just be honest about it. They have found themselves in a we won the lottery situation. But on the basketball floor, I see no reason that South Carolina can't have the same expectations that Clemson has. Think about it, y'all. Clemson bounced in the second round of the ACC tournament, first round of the NCAA tournament. Clemson fans aren't happy about it. South Carolina fans, how are you satisfied? 2 hours left. We'll start the first one. When we come back, I'm Rob, he's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate. WYRD Greenville. WORD Spartanburg. W249DL Greenville. W246CV Spartanburg. WFBC-FM HD3.
An Odyssey station.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. Atlanta Braves baseball, an MRI performed on Ronald Acuna Jr., showing that he has a mild abdominal strain. He is officially listed as day-to-day. He came out of the game on Sunday when the Braves knocked off the Chicago Cubs, leaving the game in the fourth inning with an injury. But the Braves can be thankful that it doesn't look like it is going to be an injured list stint for Acuna. An off day yesterday. They get back at this evening as they are going to open up a 2-game series against the Yankees. It'll be Charlie Morton on the mound this evening for the Braves, looking for his second win, while Jameson Taillon will start for the Yankees. He's
You watch Raw yet?
Yeah, I was in the Thunderdome last night.
You said that. Oh, gosh. Sorry. My bad.
So, yeah, I meant to finish up my story about it. And
30 seconds.
Okay, never mind. I'll save it. We'll tell you about it on air.
Yeah. I was just going to ask about the unmasking, but
I mean, those two dudes deserve better than me wearing masks the whole time anyway. So if that's how they want to go about getting,
is that Dijakovic?
Yes, it is.
I never knew that. I kept thinking, man, that dude looks familiar, and I just didn't want to look it up. I wanted to figure it out, and I never did.
Yeah, it was him.
I knew who the other guy was. What, Dio? I knew who he was.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. What's cracking? Good to be with you once again. I am Rob Brown. Lonzo is back in the network studio in charge of buttons, switches, levers, knobs, gears, wheel, pulleys, levers, whatever else is necessary to get us on the air. Be a part of the show, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We will read them on the air. Stories of the day that we have gotten into so far. Got a couple of texts on this at this point. Deshaun Watson's attorney, Rusty Hardin, has spoken out once again. He said yesterday that his client and his staff believe that every one of the 22 civil lawsuits against him is being filed by a woman who is lying, and therefore called them all liars. Now, I had a reaction to that initially, Lonzo. I thought, man, based on where everything stands right now, that's a really good way to get yourself in trouble with the the public relations side of things, the old court of public opinion. But then I thought, after a minute, it's really not all that surprising, Zoe, because if you are going to go fight 22 lawsuits in a civil court, you by definition have to say that every one of those suits is lying. If not about the big portion of the case, at the very least about enough details within them in order for a judge to justify dropping those suits and dismissing them altogether. Not really a shock that he would come out and say that he believes that they are all lying. The only thing I found interesting about it is how forceful Rusty Hardin was with his language, right? He didn't kind of tiptoe into it. Well, we're not calling them liars. We're just saying that we don't believe this. He didn't tiptoe into it, though. He just came out and said, yep, they're liars and they are lying. And then he said he put forward some responses, including some where he broke out that he believes that X number of women never had the contact they are claiming to have had. Y number of women ended up booking Deshaun Watson for another massage later on down the road. Z number of women were bragging about the encounter to their friends on social media. C number of women were telling friends and acquaintances that they were planning on getting money out of Deshaun after the situation happened. He has not, that we are aware of, filed any evidence that would show that those are correct statements or not, as he will likely wait until he is demanded to do so, whether it is through the discovery period leading up to the suit, or in the suits themselves. But, though, it was probably the most forceful defense of Deshaun Watson that we have heard so far since all of these lawsuits started dropping a couple of months ago.
I think there's another reason why you come out and say this, because maybe there might be one or two that may have something legitimate, but you're intimidating the other women into dropping the case because you say that they're lying. So now the question is, will they stick to their guns? If something indeed happened, hopefully they do stick to their guns. But if some of the women start dropping the case, then it makes the case look more and more flimsy.
Yeah, and there is, there's a lot of strategy. Again, Zoe and I are not attorneys, just to be abundantly clear. We
watch way too many lawyer type shows on TV, though, obviously.
Bum, 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 bum. Yes, absolutely. I've watched more true crime documentaries on Netflix during the pandemic than in my entire life up to that point. I'm basically ready to pass the bar exam. That is not true.
I'm more on, Joe Pesci, My Cousin Vinny type level.
And these three Utes, did you just say Utes? Yeah, the Utes. Always, always, always. Man, still a great movie. And by the way, Marissa Tomei in that movie, Lonzo. Just mwah, mwah. Love Marissa Tomei. Anyway, so that I don't get Lonzo in trouble.
She's a very talented actress.
She is a very talented actress. So not attorneys, nor did we stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. But there is a lot of tactical approach to how this is all going to lay out as well. I think Zoe has a tremendous point in that discussion in saying that they may very well have evidence that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 12 of the women in question are lying. They may very well have evidence. They may not have evidence that all 22 are lying at this point. And if that is the case, if they do not have that evidence, they may do enough that Busby and the rest of the women get a little shy, back away, maybe kind of start to rethink about, did we get all these details correct? Might we be one of the women that Rusty Hardin is going to directly confront and accuse us of lying and spreading mistruth? And if so, how do we make sure that we straighten this out? And if that is the case, it may throw a wrench into the system of what Tony Busby is trying to accomplish. Anyway, a couple of texts that have come in on this story so far. At ESPN, Deshaun Watson, remember, he is a young, unarmed black male enduring a grueling character assassination at a level of unprecedented racism directed at him with no facts or criminal complaints or investigations. Let's break that down, texter, because with all due respect, I don't know that that's entirely true. First off, no facts or criminal complaints. Well, we do know that there has been at least one. I have not heard any more development since then. We also know that, again, not saying that he will, but Tony Busby has said that when the time is right and he finds the right agency, he will be bringing evidence of this to a law enforcement agency. Could he be bluffing? Sure, absolutely could be bluffing. Same way that Rusty Hardin might be bluffing about the data that he has regarding these women. But what we do know, and what has been seen, are text messages and Instagram DMs from a number of the women who have accused Deshaun Watson, including at least one where he apologized. We do not know specifically what for, but did apologize for behavior that he said, I apologized if that was inappropriate. That's a paraphrase, not a direct quote, because I don't have it right in front of me, but it was something to that effect. And again, I and Zoe, I think you and I, just to completely reiterate where we stand on all of this, and I think we're still in a very similar spot, which is, hey, look, I'm gonna let the day in court happen before I say, oh, yes, I believe the women or I believe Deshaun. I am simply going to say these women have brought forth, a lot of them have brought forth accusations. They have brought forth enough evidence that a big-time attorney in town has decided to take them on. We are not privy to all of it yet. We are not going to see all of it until, again, probably the cases themselves start to take place. But with that being said, we have to look at what we do know. There are 22. There are actually more than 22 women. There are 22 lawsuits. Most of these women have now been, actually all 22 of them, have now been willing to put their name on them and stand by them, despite what they are going to get kickback from the public down in Houston and Texans fans and Deshaun fans. They've been willing to put their name. We know that there are some text and Instagram DMs that detail some of the minutia of this story. And we do know that and Zoe and I have had this conversation about how sometimes it is about looks, that of these 22 women, at least a handful of them were not massage therapists. They were Instagram models, a term that I despise. They were IG models, and they were beauticians, and they were just hot women who put themselves up on the gram. And all of this happened. What I'm saying, Zoe, is that to go out there and say, oh, Deshaun's a black man dealing with racism and character assassination. I don't think that's fair. There are 22 women out there that say there's a thing, but it's also not fair to convict Deshaun Watson of what he is being accused of either. So the truth is the default position remains today. Let's just let it be where it is until we go to court.
Exactly. And there have been things coming out on both sides that will make you think, well, maybe this side's right. Maybe this side is right. I'm not going to come to a conclusion till I hear all the evidence. And in the end, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the judge thinks.
Yeah, we're going to find out.
And also, in the end, no matter what, whether he's innocent or guilty, his character has been assassinated, and he's not going to recover from it. If it comes out that all these women are lying, he's still not going to recover from it. But if he is guilty, then he needs to be punished for it.
844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us 71307, 71307. At ESPN, I think Deshaun is a decent guy. However, he has put himself in a terrible situation and needs to use his thinking head instead of his other head. Just my thoughts. G-Man, appreciate the text on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Look, I have said, and I'll remain to say, if you are a young single athlete and you want to get your jollies running around with Instagram ladies, that's your business. That's your business. I would definitely, Zoe, be taking extra precautions to protect myself from any unfounded lawsuits or allegations of criminal behavior. Sure. But look, when 22 women have brought lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, when some of them have at least my receipts about the minutia, right? I'm sorry that I apologize. I'm sorry, I apologize if that got weird, et cetera, et cetera. When they aren't massage therapists, but you're booking them for massages anyway, et cetera, it creates enough of a justification that it will have to go through a trial. That's all this comes down to. That's all this comes down to. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us 71307 on the Ingles Market text lines. When we come back, we have got an update from South Carolina's scrimmage. They are in their practice. They're on their last few days of practices before their spring game on Saturday. Plus, why you absolutely should not rely on a first-round draft pick to put you over the edge. I'll tell you what the numbers look like and why you shouldn't do that coming up in just a few minutes on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer.
I finally got my email. Okay, first off, I'm interrupting that. Steven, my dude, the only difference between today and every other day is that I'm not wearing a hat, man. Steven, I've come to the conclusion. Steven is my like if this was wrestling, Steven is the Mr. McMahon to my Stone Cold, I think. It's every day.
I would say to Steven, it's got to take some work to get that wavy thing that's going on.
Because work it takes to blow dry this just perfectly, so that because it's got volume.
I can't blow dry. If I do, I look like a poodle. But that's just me.
All my best qualities are from my eyes up.
By the way, the X.
Go ahead, Zoe. Sorry.
I was going to say the Xbox app is trending, and everyone's just posting, game fails. Do you actually record any of your gaming stuff?
You know why? Because outside of the streamers who jumped in early, I've come to the conclusion, like outside of a short clip that you can watch in 20, 30 seconds, nobody cares about it's like your fantasy football team, right? Like you can go, oh, you got who I got on my team. Nobody cares who's on your fantasy football team. I don't think anybody but you and the people that are actually in the game with you really care all that much about what's going on in your video game world.
I have seen some kind of entertaining things, I got to admit, but I haven't. I have, when I used to update my YouTube channel, I have some stuff on there, but it's been a while.
If it's like hilariously fail, I'll take the time to watch it, right? Like if it's especially if it's
10 seconds
play, but like I'm not jumping on Twitch to watch a guy play Call of Duty for 3 hours
when you could be playing it yourself.
Exactly.
Real, unfiltered sports talk every weekday noon to 3. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. The Eagles Market text line remains open at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN. We'll read them on the air. Rob, I still feel Cal McNair has something to do with Watson's legal troubles. Just my opinion. Something is off. I've heard that a lot, and I'm asking this as a genuine question, texter, not an attack. I really want your opinion. What sense does that make? What do the McNairs have? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that the Texans are an embarrassingly badly run organization. Okay, Nick Easterby or Jack Easterby, Nick Caserio, they're not good. All right, they're not good at their job, and they've done a phenomenal job of being bad at their jobs. All right, I understand that, but you've got one of, I don't know, Zoe, unfair to say top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and Deshaun Watson. Is that unfair?
He definitely is one of the top 5 for sure.
Yeah. One of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league on your team, even if you have a personal issue with him, right? And you don't want him there. What is the value of tanking him, taking him down, Because if he's not going to play in the league anymore, you don't get any benefit from him. If you tank his trade value and he is going to play in the league anymore, you have, at that point, gotten nothing out of the deal. And if he had let's say he would have had a change of heart, let's say, and it wasn't going to happen, but let's say David Culley, the new head coach, would have had a conversation with Deshaun, would have gotten onto his good side, would have convinced him, all right, you know what? Let's bring this guy in. Let's see where it goes. What if? What happens then? Now you've wrecked that. But most importantly, and here's the biggest risk of all for that to be the case, you are talking about an organization-wide controversy, maybe conspiracy. So, I'm going to tell you right now, if it ever comes up that Bob and Cal McNair or Easterby or Nick Caserio or anybody, even just one person in that organization took steps beyond what is necessary in order to create this problem for Deshaun, that team is going to have a lot of questions thrown at them by the NFL front office. Now, if they got multiple reports, the only way I could see that being accurate, if they got multiple reports from Busby or women reached out to the front office and offered to volunteer the information, and they reported it as such, then they did the right thing in that case, right? If they got multiple women that came forward and said Deshaun Watson assaulted me, and they were the ones who brought it to the cops, then they did the right thing. In which case, I can't be mad at the Houston Texans. I couldn't be upset at that point with the Houston Texans. Rob, the McNairs are super pissed about him wanting to leave, so they are going to make sure that Houston is his only option. Well, again, if they were the ones who brought this legal trouble down on him, either A, he's going to lose in civil court, in which case I would be willing to bet, although this is a break, if any of these, if he is found guilty without a doubt, past a reasonable doubt, I think he's done in the NFL. I think his career's over, right? If you're the Texans, and yeah, you want to make sure, all right, Houston's your only option, to the point that we will make you sit on your couch at home for the duration of the 4 years of your contract. If you ended this man's career by making something up, keep in mind, and this is a part, Zoe, I want to be very clear about. If the Texans got these accusations and there was enough weight of evidence behind them to justify giving them to I would say authorities. If they went and they gave it to the media first and not authorities, then yeah, I'd have a big problem with that. But if they got enough weight behind these accusations and then reported it, that's ethical. That's doing the right thing. If they made it up, and the Texans went out and found a bunch of women and coerced them into telling these stories, then that program will be nuked to the ground. They may just lose the franchise, either move it or revoke ownership from those owners, demand that they sell like they did to Jerry Richardson a few years ago and push him out. I don't, Lonzo, and I want your thoughts on it. I don't see any logical reason that the McNairs or Easterby or Caserio or anybody else would be the primary driving force behind where Deshaun Watson is right now. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
And what this comes down to, this is loyalty to Deshaun Watson by some of his fans, and loyalty to possibly the school he played for, but more than likely just to him, that they can't fathom the idea that this could possibly be true. And you go to the extremes about what you think is the reason why he's in trouble. And it just doesn't make sense. It's hard to fathom that someone would even come up with that as a reason that the McNairs are behind it. I just the first time we heard that, I was completely shocked because that never would have come to mind that an NFL team would even consider doing it, and I still don't think they would. I just don't. Of the repercussions that will be felt, not only for your team and with McNair, with his family, for forever. You're just not going to do something like that.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me, like at all, that they would do that. Let me phrase that. The McNairs are bad owners. Easterby is a bad GM. Easterby and Caserio are both bad GMs, player personnel directors, whatever position title they're in. And even with all of that, it doesn't make sense to me that they would go as far as to say, we don't care if we get nothing out of the deal for Deshaun Watson. We would rather him be out of the league or sitting on his couch or in jail than do anything. Again, if they got accusations and there was enough behind it and they started all this, that's not taking something out on Deshaun Watson. That's ethically doing the right thing. If they go to the authorities, which at this point, obviously they did not, if this all happened. But again, I think it's a big hypothetical that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, why you should not bank on first-round draft picks saving your program. We go inside the numbers a little bit. A first-round pick is not your savior. I'll tell you why next on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your...
Felt Marissa Tomei just showing up in my stream account seconds after we talked about her.
Is it coincidence? I don't know.
Big Brother's listening, so.
Well, we are on the radio and streaming online, so I mean, that would not be a shocker. They're showing a UFC commercial on TV right now. And man, this card has got some good fights on it. So I know what I'm doing Saturday night.
If I make it over, and I'm hoping I make it over to the spring game in Colombia on Saturday, I might make it back in time for that. If I don't, then I'll definitely be watching it.
A Prisma in the next brick.
Prisma.
One minute.
All right, Steven says one's got to go in Cold War. Warzone, Team Deathmatch, or Free For All. Which do you choose, Rob? Team Deathmatch has got to go. Warzone is the point of the game, even though it's gotten a little wonky. Season 3 dropped, by the way, so I'll be playing tonight. Warzone is the point of the game. Free for all, it's just more fun. It's just chaos. Team deathmatch would be more fun, except for it's not really team deathmatch. It's just free for all cut in half, right? Like when me and the boys run team deathmatches, there's 3 or 4 of us. We're moving as a unit, calling out corners and all that. Then it's a lot of fun. But when I'm just playing randomly, I'd rather play free for all than team deathmatch. So there you go, Steven. Little video game chat.
More than the scores, the ups and downs, the ins and outs. Real, unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. So, yeah, look, we love the draft, man. We love the draft. We all love the draft. Can't wait to talk about the draft. But, realistically speaking, and Dan Graziano of ESPN put up a really cool article where he dove into some of the numbers about first-round draft picks with the point that first-round draft picks, more often than not, don't work out. Don't work out. He went down the line, and the headline of the article is NFL Draft Reality Check. Not all of the first 5 quarterbacks in 2021 will work out. Just look at recent history. And he went down and he basically said, if you were drafting a quarterback, temper your expectations. And it's kind of interesting. He went through alongside the folks at ESPN Stats and Information and pulled data on every first rounder from 2000 to 2016. That is all 540 first round picks from 2000 to 2016, and whether or not they made it to a second contract with the team that drafted them. Overall, 232 of the 540 were re-signed by the team that drafted them at the end of their rookie contracts. That is 43%. So about 6 out of every 10, 3-ish out of every 5, 6 out of every 10 draft picks that are selected in the first round do not get a second contract. Now, that does need to take into consideration how many of them vastly overperformed and ended up just getting huge deals from other teams that were enough to bring them away. But the point is, even if it was because they performed in their first 3 or 4 year rookie contract, they did not stick with the team that got them. They did not stick with the team that drafted them, which means that ultimately they didn't do it. They didn't turn your team around. He goes on to quote one front office NFC exec who remained anonymous, who said, quote, "There's a lot of things you can't control. You're introducing 20-somethings into money they've never seen before, and that's automatically going to introduce distraction from what got them to the point where they're at. There's injury, of course. There's changes in system. I mean, some quarterbacks never get a fair shot. You change systems, change coaches, sometimes 2 or 3 times during that rookie contract, and you've got to look at it as more of an organizational failure than a failure of the prospect himself," end quote. And Graziano points out the case of Sam Darnold. The Jets traded up from number 6 to number 3 to take him. They fired Coach Ted Bowles and GM Mike McCadigan after Darnold's first year. They fired Coach Adam Gase after his 3rd year. And now they're picking second in this year's draft and sent Darnold to Carolina because they're ready for his replacement. Now, Darnold's not included in the study that is being sourced for this because he was a 2018 draft and they only went 2000 to 16. But they broke it down and they found position by position differences. Offensive linemen seem to be the most likely first-round picks to succeed. Of the 55 offensive tackles taken in the first round from 2000 to 2016, 33 of them got second contracts with the teams that drafted them. That's a 60% success rate. 12 of the 26 first-round guards and all 9 of the first-round centers made it to a second contract on the same team. Linebacker, a relatively safe pick as well. 54.8%. That's 23 of 42 of those drafted in the first round got re-signed to second contracts. But the numbers get worse after that. Wide receivers. Wide receivers were the lowest rated group in the study. Of the 70 wide receivers drafted from 2000 to 2016, only 19 made it to second contracts with the teams that drafted them. That includes Odell Beckham Jr. and Tavon Austin, who didn't exactly become Giants or Rams legends. For every Calvin Johnson, there's a Kevin White. For every Julio Jones and A.J. Jenkins. Doesn't mean your team should shy away from a wide receiver. Just means to temper expectations. The next worst position group in the study, defensive tackle. 35.3% of defensive tackles signed a second contract. 35.5% of cornerbacks ended up. Now, it's a little more interesting when you talk about defensive tackles and cornerbacks, because you got to think it's not just about coaches and systems, but it's also about schemes, right? If you are a cornerback who grew up primarily playing isolation, one-on-one coverage on the outside, and then you're drafted into a team that prefers to run primarily zone defensive back schemes, then you're not going to fit in as well. Now, Graziano goes down the list and says that there have been some teams that have been more successful at picking in the first round and retaining those picks than others. With that being said, the Cowboys signed a league-high 73.3% of their draft picks, 11 of their 15, from 2000 to 2016 to second contracts. The Texans and the Panthers were the second closest. Both of those teams signed 68.8% of their first-round picks. 2 out of every 3 made it to a second contract. The Eagles were at 60%, the Steelers at 58%. But the teams that you expected to be on the bottom of the list are the Broncos and the Jaguars. Each made 17 first-round picks, and each of them signed only 4 to second contracts. The Browns and the Lions did as well at 25%. What about the quarterback position? 45 quarterbacks were taken in the 17 drafts that we are talking about, and 19 of those got second contracts, 42.2%. That includes Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton. It includes Eli Manning, Joe Flacco, and Ben Roethlisberger, all who won Super Bowls. But it also includes Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, the top 2 picks from the 2016 draft, both of whom were also traded away this offseason from the teams that drafted them before their second contracts actually even kicked in. So it really means that 17 of the 45 quarterbacks ended up making it to a second contract. Doesn't matter how high they are picked. Dan Graziano points out, kind of. 9 of the 12 quarterbacks taken with the number 1 overall pick from those drafts got second contracts. The ones that did not, Jamarcus Russell, Sam Bradford, and Jameis Winston. Only 1 of 3 who were picked number 2 got a second one. That's Carson Wentz. Only 1 of the 4 who went number 3 got another one. That's Matt Ryan. Phillip Rivers, who was picked number 4, got one. 12 of the 19, really 17 that we've talked about, are in that box. Finding a Roethlisberger at an 11 or a Rodgers at 24 is effectively finding a needle in a haystack. The problem is that so much goes into whether a quarterback is successful in the NFL. It's about more than just a player's ability or mental makeup. It often comes down to the situation they're put in. What kind of team is built around him? How much time does he need before he's ready to play? How much time does he get before he gets ready to play? And how much of that time is spent behind what coach? Is it a head coach that knows quarterbacks? Is it a good quarterback coach that can translate what the head coach wants to the quarterback, et cetera, et cetera? Ryan Tannenbaum said, quote, in college, you see guys looking over at the sideline for every play from the coaching staff in the NFL with 15 seconds left on the play clock. That communication between the coach and the quarterback is cut off. If you don't have the ability to get into the right play yourself, it's hard to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. Long story short, Lonzo, what this entire study from Dan Graziano says to me is, if you are banking your future on a first-round prospect being the key, being the guy that turns you around, you are more likely than not going to be ultimately disappointed, Zoe. Thoughts on what Dan Graziano put into that research?
I think it's pretty simple. What it comes down to is if you are a number one draft pick, you're going to a really bad team. And you are not, you might be able to help fix them eventually, but you're probably not going to be around long enough to do it because you're not the only gap that needs to be filled. If someone is drafting 1, 2, or 3, their team is really, really bad. And there's hardly anyone out there in the history of football good enough to fix that.
Yeah. To bank on even a quarterback, to bank on a first rounder being the guy that saves your program, it's not going to go well for you. It's not going to, well, it might. We mentioned the names that were in there, but for the most part, quarterbacks don't bank out. Really, any position that you take, with the exception of offensive tackle, the odds that player does not make it to a second contract are higher than the odds that they do. With the exception of offensive tackle, every other position, more players do not make it to a second contract than do. And that's a ridiculous number. It is one of the reasons, though, that I have for years have pushed for teams to build through free agency and build through trades, not through the draft. The draft should add luxury to your roster. It should not be the foundation. And that is why when people for years have said, look at the hoodie is stocking draft picks, right? That's been the MO of Bill Belichick. He carries around a treasure chest full of picks. But you'll notice what Hoodie doesn't do with those picks. You know what Hoodie doesn't do with his draft picks? Draft. He trades them. He's smart. He trades them.
And this year, we'll see if it works out the way you think it will. But he added a ton of free agents.
Yep.
So much so that everyone is talking about, well, he's changed his strategy about how he does things, but maybe he's doing what you're talking about. And that's shoring up the team with a bunch of free agents. Then you can pretty much, if you want to use the draft picks, you can draft who you want and put them on a team that's pretty good.
844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo One Word, at ESPN Upstate. And, of course, make sure you download the Odyssey app. AUDACY, it is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app and listen to all your favorite music, news, sports, and podcasts. And, of course, don't miss a minute of our live local programming with The Rob Brown Show with Rob and Lonzo. Offsides with Diesel and Mark Ryan. Get it on the Odyssey app at AUDACY. If you already had the radio.com app, it is updated for you. If you don't, grab the Odyssey app and go to our website, espnupstate.com. Pull the podcast every hour. All 7 of them of our local shows are put up on our website at espnupstate.com every day. Make sure you download those podcasts and check them out. Quick break. We're back after this to wrap up our numero dos on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app. Download the app and make ESPN Upstate a favorite for 24/7 real, unfiltered sports talk.
You know, when I moved here, there were a list of questions that I had to answer. I had to know where my favorite hamburger was and my favorite pizza was. I needed to know where the best motorcycle riding roads were. I needed to know where the best camping spots were, where the best fishing spots were. And most importantly of all, I needed to know who was I going to go see if I had a medical issue that I needed help with. And that is where Prisma Health stepped in. I heard about Prisma before I even got here because I knew that they were the official healthcare providers for both the Gamecocks of South Carolina and for the Tigers of Clemson. I had heard about Prisma before, but then it got time to go to work. And once I started taking care of my health here in the issue, there was nowhere to go but Prisma. Last year, you guys know that I had a vasovagal injury. Basically meant that I passed out for no explainable reason. But when it did, who did I go talk to? Prisma. Last year, you guys know that I got coronavirus. When I needed the test, who did I go to? Prisma. When I needed treatment, who did I go to? Prisma. And now I use their MyChart system, not just to check my second dose of the vaccine, but every health concern that I have, I go through Prisma Health, and you should do the same. Check out their website at prismahealth.org, prismahealth.org. There, you can find a location from across the upstate and the Midlands. You can search for a doctor that you like and that you trust from more than 2,400 medical healthcare professionals, and you can schedule your appointment right there on their website. Plus, use their MyChart feature to keep you and your doctors abreast of all of your medical history as it continues to develop. Go to prismahealth.org for all of that and more. Prismahealth.org. It's Prisma Health right here in the upstate.
So I'm trying to come to grips with a disturbing trend for me. I think I'm progressing towards looking like Rob Ryan. More and more so. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And it has to do with the, things turning white. And the hairstyle's already there, although his hair is better than mine. But I'm just starting to look more and more like that. I could fix that. I could cut my hair. I could shave the beard or use that brush thing on it. I don't know. But I don't know.
His hair, in fact, you know what? Just because A, I have the technology, and B, I find it amusing, I'm going to pull up the side-by-side here. Here we go. Here is the glorious one, Rob Ryan. First off, though, his hair is almost like Gandalf smooth.
Yeah, it is.
Like his hair is silky smooth.
I have my daughter one time wanted to straighten my hair, and I let her do it, and my hair looks like that when it's straight, when it's straightened.
First off, if you can pull this off, you should be rocking that look every day.
Oh, I can, yeah.
That should be part of your morning activities to get up and look like that.
Here was the problem, though. During the time my hair was longer than what it is now, it was very Axl Rose looking, and I couldn't handle that. So
he's a little whiter. Although I think right at the top, you can kind of start to see the white starting to come in on yours.
And my hair will turn white. It's not a gray. It's going to turn white.
Right.
That's. As long as it does.
Are you going to fight it with the dye?
Nah. I have some relatives who do that. Nah. I also have uncles. They're in the headband phase, which I'm not quite there yet. The taking the bandana and folding it into the headband. I can't get there yet. But I think once I hit 60, maybe I'll do that.
All right, so there is one Rob Ryan look I need you to not get to. I need you to not be rocking this look.
Did that already a few years ago.
I need you to go not go back to that.
Yeah. That was.
It looks like he's smuggling a keg of beer into the locker room.
I have videos me looking much like that, and like I've said on my commercials, I have a 5X jersey still at home, and it was too tight, and it looked a lot like that.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. Listen, I'm not against carrying the belly around. It's going to happen to the best of us, but that's too much, Rob Ryan. He's back on the chili cheese fries, bro.
So I got looking like Rob Ryan, at least the hair wise, it's not a bad thing. No, I just have noticed that I seem to be heading that direction. But yeah, if it turns completely white, let it go. My grandpa his hair is completely white, and I have uncles who have hair just like that already, and it's white, but they're in their 80s. So it may take me that long before I go completely silver, but we'll see.
It's good look. You ought to get into the hair straightening game. Absolutely, that's a good look. That Gandalf look.
I'll have to see if I can, 20 seconds, I'll have to see if I can find a picture of where she straightened it, and I'll let you see it.
You know what? I still haven't shared Suit Lonzo to the world yet. You need to share Suit Lonzo. Suit Lonzo was a good look. Suit Lonzo with Rob Ryan's hair, man, you would be...
For upstate sports junkies.
These pathetic junkies? Come on, look at them.
You eat sports like food every day. Get hooked on the Rob Brown Show, noon to 3 every weekday on ESPN Upstate.
Alex Smith has announced his retirement from the National Football League. Put out some audio yesterday on Instagram about his retirement. And I thought it was good, man. I thought it was great. We talked a little bit about it. We'll do it again here, but here's the audio from Alex Smith. Released it after we had, or right as we were going off the air yesterday. Oh, let me plug my computer in.
Staring down at my mangled leg, wondering if I'd ever be able to go on a walk with my wife again or play games with my kids in the yard. Putting my helmet back on was the farthest thing from my mind. I just kept asking myself, all this for a stupid game? But then someone did something that changed my recovery completely. He put a football back in my hands. I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden I felt stronger, more driven, and what once seemed impossible began to come into focus. And the truth is, over the course of my life, that's what this game has done for me. I was a skinny, no-name recruit who wasn't even supposed to play in college, let alone go to New York as a Heisman finalist, or be the first one to have his name called on draft night. And then, on a routine play, I almost lost everything. But football wouldn't let me give up. Because no, this isn't just a game. It's not just what happens between those white lines on a Sunday afternoon. It's about the challenges and the commitment they require. It's about how hard and how far you can push yourself. It's about the bond between those 53 guys in the locker room and everybody else in the organization. It's about fully committing yourself to something bigger. And most of all, it's about you. So to everyone out there, whether you're a part of Niner Nation, the Chiefs Kingdom, or the Burgundy and Gold, I thank you. To all the men I had the privilege of standing with and playing alongside, thank you. I want to say thank you for believing in me. And thank you for helping me believe in myself and in the impossible.
And here we go.
Wow. Folks, Alex Smith for the first time since...
Because even though I've got plenty of snaps left in me, after 16 years of giving this game everything I've got, I can't wait to see what else is possible. But first, I'm going to take a little time to enjoy a few of those walks with my wife, and my kids have no idea what's coming for them in the backyard.
Alex Smith announcing his retirement on Instagram yesterday, and as though we talked about it for just a minute during Twitter trending topics, but man, I hate to say this, I'm glad he retired. I was thrilled. Well, I mean, what a comeback story for Alex Smith. There was a point in time where we thought Alex Smith might have to have his leg amputated. We never knew if he was going to be able to walk again. Forget play football. Ends up not just playing football, but coming back and playing relatively well last year. Said he had thoughts. As a matter of fact, the Jacksonville Jaguars reached out to him about signing him to a contract to be the backup and be the mentor for Trevor Lawrence in his first year in the league. But I hate to say I'm happy to see a guy retire, but I am. He got the comeback. He did it. He did the impossible, which was a phenomenal story. But at the same time, I mean, I couldn't imagine having to be the guy that made the call to put Alex Smith in the game and then him get injured again, right? I mean, every time that he took a snap, every time that somebody pushed on him defensively and came after him, I just kind of I did that thing where you turn your head away from the TV and you're trying to watch out of your peripheral so that you can see what happens. But if something does happen that's bad, it's blurry enough that you can't see the trauma. What a hell of a story for Alex Smith. I'm glad he gets to walk off on his own time. I'm glad he gets to walk, but I'm glad he gets to walk off on his own terms. Name the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award after that guy. He has earned it. But at the same time, man, I hope he, whether it's coaching or in a booth or whatever, I hope he gets what he wants out of the rest of his life because the dude's earned it.
Yeah, and you know what? People don't give him enough credit for how good he was. I mean, he was good wherever he went. And everybody would always, there's another quarterback better than him. I remember having an argument with some people on these airwaves saying that Alex Smith was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. and they shot me down and they just dogged me to pieces. But throughout that show, I would just bring up another quarterback at the time. This is when Alex Smith was with the Chiefs. And I would say, would you pick this guy over Alex Smith? And they would say no. And before the show was over, there was only like 5 quarterbacks that they would have picked over him. He was that good. I wouldn't say he was great, but he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league for a very long time and didn't get the credit for it. But I am glad that he is walking away because it was cringeworthy, and I am so glad that he's able to walk.
Yeah, I actually saw that hit live. I was bartending, as a matter of fact, when that hit happened. I saw that hit live. I saw the fallout. You could tell it was bad. We knew that there was a chance that not just have we seen the last of Alex Smith, but maybe in the worst possible permanent way. Name the comeback player of the year award after him because the dude's earned it. All right, 1 hour left. Hit it back. Coming up, I was in the Thunderdome for Raw last night. I'll tell you what that experience was like and a whole lot more. Rob Alonso, this is ESPN Upstate. In the restroom. Be right back.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Green.
And we're back.
All right. I sent you 2 pictures. One was the one I found where my hair was straightened. The other one was when I was the size of Ryan.
All right. Let's see. Oh, come on, phone.
I was going to say, I sent it on Facebook. You could probably get it up on there.
ESPN Upstate. Warning.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Locked down.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate, final hour of the show. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Ingalls Market text line. at 71307. 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo Onward, Lonzo, Lonzo Onward, and at ESPN Upstate. Hit us up on Facebook as well at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. All the different ways for you to get in touch with the show today. We have talked so far. Asked you back in the first hour. We got some tremendous feedback. I'm looking for more of it now. Let's start with the conversation we had after Frank Martin's audio we played for you yesterday. We had this conversation towards the end of the show yesterday, so I bring it up one more time just because I got curious. We got a lot of feedback yesterday. I'm looking for more of it today. Frank Martin said in his presser, when I showed up to South Carolina, I didn't promise nobody nothing. All I promised you was that I would work hard. The guys that wear the uniform would work hard, and that we would represent the university well. And I thought about that quite a bit, Lonzo. You know what that sounds like to me? And Mark and I both do this. I've noticed this is a habit both of us have. We compare everything to relationships, right? Which is hilarious from two dudes in their late 30s and early 40s who have never been married.
I was going to say, you need to point out two single dudes.
Two of us who have never been married, and me in my mid-30s, Mark in his early 40s. But we compare and contrast everything to relationships. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I do think it works here. So, Frank Martin saying, I promise nothing other than the fact that my team will work hard and will represent the university well. That to me would be like if you started dating a girl or a guy and they came over and they left your house a mess and they never pitched into anything and all they ever did was come over and eat dinner and then leave, and they weren't giving you the old hanky-panky and they weren't paying for dates and they weren't pitching in. And then one day you sit them down at the table and you say, hey, listen, I like you. I like your personality, but I feel like you're not really putting anything into this relationship to make it a good two-way street. And Lonzo, they said, wait. All I promised you when we started this relationship was that I wouldn't sleep with anybody else. Isn't that enough? No, that's the baseline. That's the thing that you're supposed to do. That's the starting line, not the finishing line. And to me, Zoe, that's kind of what this is. It's the equivalent of dating somebody whose contribution to the relationship is they don't hop in the sack with another person. Right. That's how it's supposed to work. That's the point of this. That's what this is, right? To me, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's the foundation. It is one thing to say I'm in a relationship, which means I won't sleep with anybody else. It's another thing to say I'm in a relationship, so I'll do all the relationship-y things, I will help you out. I will bring you food when you are hungry. I will help you run errands. I will help with the chores around the house. I will do this. I will do that. Those are the things you're supposed to do to prove that the relationship is a good one. The baseline definition of relationship is I only spend my time and get physical with you and share my emotions with you. Everything else is stuff you're supposed to do to make said relationship, successful. That's the big difference. And so I walked away from Frank Martin's comments in that press conference announcing his extension with the thought of, dude, you shouldn't be bragging about doing the foundational starting line requirements of said relationship. You brag about when you go above and beyond. Has anybody at all, Lonzo, whether it's this show or Mark's, has any South Carolina fan at all called in to say, yeah, I think Frank Martin's gone above and beyond?
I don't recall. I can't speak for the other show. But here, no, absolutely not. I wonder also, when he's speaking about this, who's he talking to? Is he talking to the fans? Is he talking to the media? Or is he talking to the powers that be, saying, hey, I did what you hired me to do? Maybe he's talking to all of them, but he could just be talking to the AD.
You know, I think you're right, Lonzo. I think you're right. I think he's trying to justify to the people who signed the paycheck. That's a great point. I think you're spot on. I think in listening to that press conference, Frank Martin was trying to convince the people who signed the paychecks that he was doing enough, not the fans. I don't think he was doing it for the fans. I think he was doing it for the people who signed the paycheck. That's who he seemed to be talking to, I think. And because of that, I don't walk away from that press conference with positivity. I don't walk away from that press conference thinking, all right, you know what? He really feels or he understands the levity of the situation here. Because frankly, Lonzo, I don't think he does. I don't think he gets it, right? Or at least it doesn't come across that he gets it. It comes across to me like he is basically at a point where he is just trying to not get fired, right? And not, I'm going to go out there and overperform. I'm going to go out there and do more. But I think more along the lines of, I just want to make sure that the boss isn't mad at me. And so to make sure the boss isn't mad at me, I'm going to say and do the things that point out how not bad I am. And that's really it. And I don't take much away from that, to tell you the truth. That doesn't do a whole heck of a lot for me.
You know, think about it. Anytime maybe you've never been in trouble, but if you've ever been in trouble and had to go to the boss's office, you go in armed with everything that you've done well.
Yep.
To put around the one thing or several things you did wrong. To point, yeah, but I did this and I did this and I did this. It sounds an awful lot like that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. If you've ever been called to the principal's office, you ever been called to the manager's office, you ever been called to the big boss's office, you already know in your head what you are going to say when you get there. And what you are going to say is, well, boss, I've done this, this, and this. I've increased productivity here, here, and here. I have made this, that, and the other change. I have helped with this situation, that situation, the other situation. Frank Martin's got a Final Four. And a Final Four that, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I'm not saying that I agree with some of those people, but a Final Four that a lot of folks have considered kind of a fluky Final Four, right? Kind of a fluky Final Four. Having a Final Four to your name is something that a lot of coaches and a lot of top-tier programs can't say. So he should absolutely brag about that. But it's been 9 years. Your only other postseason accomplishment is an NITL in the second round. The second round of the NIT. That's not good enough to me. It's just not. When I watched, like we've mentioned, when I watched Clemson be an ACC championship threat last year, when I watched Clemson get into the tournament, when I watched Brad Brownell, who, by the way, it's not exactly like, not exactly like Clemson fans are lining up to tell South Carolina fans how jealous they should be of Brad Brownell, right? But he's taken that program to a level that South Carolina fans, you're not at right now. And here's where the conversation comes for me. Taking you to a level that you are not at right now, but you absolutely should be. You absolutely should be. To me, there's no reason, there's no excuse South Carolina doesn't lack anything that Clemson lacks in the basketball department to be competitive. They're recruiting the same areas. They've got just as nice of a facility and resources, at least I have been told. Again, I have unfortunately not made it to Little John. I've made it to Clemson's campus. I have not yet made it over to Columbia. I am hoping to change that on Saturday for the spring game. But there's not much that I am aware of that South Carolina doesn't have that Clemson does that justify the difference. It would be different if South Carolina was working with the resources of the Citadel or Charleston Southern, but they're not. You're an SEC school with SEC resources, and not like Vanderbilt, right? You're working with an SEC set of resources on par. I don't know, Zoe. I don't want to say with Florida. I think Florida's resources are pretty widely known to be some of the best in the country. But up until the last year or two, South Carolina had resources in the basketball world that I would argue were on par with Alabama's. They made it this year deep into the tournament. On par with Tennessee, and you've been outperforming Tennessee the last couple of years. That's solid. I mean, basketball-wise, South Carolina, to me, Zoe, this whole conversation comes down to South Carolina, to me, should have expectations that are right up there with where Clemson's are, and anything less I consider a disappointment. So the question is, Lonzo, is that fair?
Yeah, it's fair. It's absolutely fair. XYZ championship. You should expect your coaches, you should expect your players to be winners, to come in and take it to the highest level. Anything less than why are you there? I mean, it's about winning. Your job as the AD, as the coach, as a player is to go out and win games and be the best. If not, again, why are you there? Why are you going there? So, of course, you should expect that. You should expect that everywhere. And why not at South Carolina?
Yep, that's my question. I agree entirely. That's the question. That's the point. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and at ESPN Upstate. And check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. All the different ways for you to get in touch with our show today, which we absolutely want you to do. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, for those of you that were curious, I was in the Thunderdome last night for WWE Monday Night Raw. I'll tell you what that was like next on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on.
Those of you that are watching on the stream, first off, welcome. Thanks. Leave your thoughts, comments, concerns, considerations, questions, critiques, and the like in the chat. We'll address them, whether it's on the air or off. It's so weird. Like every time I click back over here to the stream, just to think that like 3 hours, I'm just sitting here on my couch with people watching, which is cool. I like doing it. I like to be able to interact with people, but it's just weird.
Maybe someday you'll be back here.
Fingers crossed. I get my second vaccination shot on Thursday.
Just my opinion, but I don't think that has anything to do with it.
No, I don't think it does either, but I'm hoping that after a while, they'll start letting vaccinated people back into the office.
Now, there's a headline. A new documentary investigates whether Bigfoot murdered a North California pot farmer.
Say that again?
A new documentary investigates whether Bigfoot murdered a North California pot farmer.
Okay, first off, he didn't because Bigfoot's not real.
Actually, pot farmers, and Bigfoot absolutely is real.
First off, Bigfoot's not real. Second off,
Bigfoot lives in North Carolina. Sometimes he vacations in South Carolina. You're newly here and you just don't understand. But
so I have 75 years of recording technology in my hand, and nobody has managed to see Bigfoot yet.
Bigfoot is an interdimensional being with technology to stop phones from actually capturing.
Bigfoot has tech?
Yeah.
Then why does he just live out in the woods wandering around? Why haven't we found a Bigfoot house with a satellite dish to watch football?
Because he's just here to take in the scenery, go for a walk, a hike,
Gotcha. Also, Bigfoot did not murder pot farmers. You know who murdered pot farmers? The other people with their hand around the throat of the pot industry.
I just clicked on the story and there's actually pictures of Bigfoot there. Now I might actually be interested in watching this documentary.
Know how. Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
So last night, Rob Brown got to sit in the Thunderdome for WWE Raw. First one. I've tried to get into a few. That was the first one I got into. And it was interesting, Lonzo. It was interesting. So first off, the first thing is you're just watching Monday Night Raw, but on your computer instead of on your TV, which, I mean, I got a 60-inch in the house for a reason, right? They tell you like you can put it, they tell you to put it on your TV, but to mute it and watch it on your computer, which for two reasons. A, so they still get the ratings. And B, because my Alexa has just randomly started talking to me. Hang on, I'm trying to hear what Alexa's saying. She's giving me a recipe for some reason. Anyway, so you watch it on your computer. And once you watch it, you're watching it on the computer.
She said Bigfoot was real. I heard her.
As you're watching it on your computer, you hear the regular commentary from Graves and from Adnan and from Byron Saxton. The only difference that I really noticed, Lonzo, was that there is a producer that is speaking to those who are watching on the Thunderdome, and he gives you cues, So like when Charlotte came out, he's like, "Oh, Charlotte," but he talks to you like a fan, right? He's like, "Oh, Charlotte, she's obnoxious. Boo her. I can't stand her. Boo her." And then when Asuka came out, who they're trying to push as a face, oh yeah, here comes Asuka to break up Charlotte. Let's cheer for Asuka. Everybody cheer for Asuka. Do the Asuka dance, everybody. And then when Rhea came out, who's kind of a tweener right now, he was audibly telling you, how do we feel about Rhea? Do you like her? Cheer? Do you dislike her? Boo her? Let's everybody let everybody know how they feel about Rhea Ripley and blah, blah, blah. which was fine, Zoe. I get it. I mean, they need an energetic crowd. I mean, if it's going to work, it's going to work because the audience in the Thunderdome gets involved and you can see them and whatever. And that's all well and good and fine. The problem was that they were trying to shoehorn you into cheering for the baby faces and booing the heels and not really giving you the option. Now, I don't know that they would kick anybody out if they weren't reacting the way that they wanted them to.
I was going to say, I'm not surprised by this because during the quarantine with no crowds, they've been able to control the narrative, which is not, that's what they probably were salivating at, the opportunity to control the narrative and decide who was getting cheered and who was being booed by what they were piping in. I also do believe that there are probably times when they're in live arenas that they might pipe in a little bit of the boos or the cheers just to get people to go along with it.
Yeah, that's just what it felt like right now. I will tell you, there was one really kind of cool thing that I did pick up on, and it was kind of tough to hear because, again, while this producer is talking to you about all of this, he is also, you're also hearing what's going on in the gorilla position with all the producers, right? So when he would click his mic on, all right, here comes Riddle. Let's all cheer for Riddle. Riddle going to take on Randy Orton. What a great match. Let's all cheer for Matt Riddle. While he's talking about Riddle, though, you can actually hear the television production crew talking through the same mic, right? So he's talking about Riddle, and you hear behind him a second voice going, all right, pyro in 3, 2, 1, hit pyro. All right, switch to camera 3. Let's get the wide shot of the dome. Like, you could actually hear the television production, which is something that, for the most part, WWE keeps very guarded. Even in the documentaries, you don't really hear the production commands and all that about change this camera, light the pyro, move this, move that. To the point, so there was one point, and I'm 90% sure I heard what I heard, but I believe I actually heard somebody giving the referee a command, right? And I during the Orton Riddle match, I'm pretty sure that I heard somebody in the production booth say to the referee, go home, which is the what they tell the wrestlers to, all right, this is the last minute of the match. Go ahead, hit the finishing sequence, and let's end this thing. But I'm pretty sure I heard somebody say go home, and then the referee kind of scoots up and he goes to check on Orton, which is when he says, all right, go home. And then within 60 seconds, the match was over and Riddle pulled off the upset. It was something it was cool to do, though, one time, but I don't really feel compelled to do it again. I mean, I might try to pop in there for a pay-per-view maybe. But as far as SmackDown and Raw go, I think I'd rather watch them on TV so that when there are matches I'm not super thrilled about or I need to hit because when you're on commercial break, they're like, you can get up and walk away during commercial break, go to the bathroom, grab a drink, whatever you got to do. But they tell you don't eat or drink on the feed. Don't, not that I was, but don't smoke or vape on the feed. Basically, don't do anything that doesn't look like you are just 100% completely engrossed in the match, no matter what's happening. What were there were 3 or 4 other rules. And basically what they tell you was, if we see you doing any things, we will kick you and give your seat to another fan. That being said, I would argue, Lonzo, that unless you are one of the people that are on screen directly on the hard cam or directly behind the announcers, you're not even going to see yourself on TV. I think I saw myself for about 8 seconds on a pan shot, but I'm not for sure. It was me. So I can't really say like I could go back. I may go back and scan through it to see if I can find it and pick it out. But for the most part, Lonzo, it really was just kind of like it was just basically watching Monday Night Raw, except Monday Night Raw was also watching me.
I got to say, I'm a little shocked this is the first time you've been in the Thunderdome because I could have swore I've seen you a bunch of times. That looks like Rob.
Well, first off, there's no shortage of really good-looking people like me. No, I I've tried to get in a couple of times. I've tried to get in a few times. That's the first time I've actually been able to get in. It's not easy. Like they give you a call time where they tell you to log in, and the call. So I also watch Main Event on there as well, which I may go back and start watching Main Event to tell you the truth, because Main Event was kind of cool. I mean, the guys on Main Event are trying to make their way up to the roster. I think that overall, like I said, I've gotten in once. I've tried a couple of times before that. Once you hit your call time, like once it's filled up, it's filled up. They sometimes will rotate people in and out if they've got a huge demand. But last night I was in there for the whole 3 hours. It was cool. It was interesting to be able to hear the behind the scenes stuff, right? It was interesting to be able to hear the commands. I don't know if it was Vince or just a regular producer, but it was cool to be able to hear the commands. It was cool to be able to hear the production orders for pyro and camera switches and all that. All that was really cool. But I would also say, do it once, but it's not really worth going out of your way for after that, because all you're doing is watching Raw on a smaller screen.
I don't think I could keep my eyes forward and pay attention that much. I mean, I like watching, but I can't do one thing. I'm doing two things. It's probably my job, but I'm used to doing 2 or 3 things at once. So if I sit there and I'm just watching wrestling, and this could be because I'm old, I'll fall asleep. So I mean, and it's not because wrestling is boring, because I'll do the same thing with just about anything I'm watching. If I'm not doing something else at the same time. So, did they tell you to not be looking other directions to try to, because I've noticed that it seems like for the most part, all the faces are faced forward.
Yes. They tell you keep your eye level and stay looking at the monitor. If they see you looking away from the monitor, then they will cut you and they'll add somebody else in there. No drinking. When I say drinking, I'm not talking booze. I'm talking like no drinking. Like don't take sips from the water.
That part bothers me, because
they say to save it for commercials. Like when you go to commercial, you can do all that.
So we want you to look completely enthralled in everything that's going on.
Yes.
And you cannot be. Last time I checked, last live show I went to, they served food and drinks.
Yeah, and again, I don't know that it's I get it, right? Because it's a virtual audience, you need them to look invested, or else the point of the virtual audience goes away. With a real crowd, somebody put up a clip yesterday on Twitter that I kind of laughed at of Drew McIntyre back during his babyface, clean-shaven 3MB days, where he dropped the Claymore kick and like nobody did anything. Right now, like when he calls the 3-2-1 and a Claymore, the crowd loses it. With the old one, nobody did. And so I get that they want it to look crazy. They want the crowd to be fully invested. They want the crowd to look crazy and on board. And if you don't, they will get rid of you, because I'm sure that there was no shortage of people that were waiting with the link to try to get themselves in. But yeah, during the show, no drinking, no eating, stay looking at the monitor, no signs. And in fact, they even tell you, like, you can put up a sign, but only if it is in direct support of the one of the superstars in the ring at the time. Nothing derogatory, yada yada. Like I said, you're basically just watching Raw.
So I want to thank you, because I consider this a public service announcement, because now I'm not going to do it, and unless I just feel like doing it to say I did it. But this does not sound like an enjoyable experience, because there are too many parameters, too many things, and I don't like being told to cheer or boo on cue. I mean, that comes from an emotional place. It comes from a place where, or in some cases trolling, but still it's because I want to, not because someone tells me to.
During the main event, which was Charlotte v. Asuka with Rhea ringside, they're telling you, all right, cheer for Asuka. Oh, Asuka's coming back. Fire up with Asuka. Or, oh, here's Charlotte. Charlotte hit Asuka. Boo, boo, Charlotte. And they're talking to you the whole time. Well, they got down to the end where Charlotte had Asuka in the figure 4, and then go into the figure 8, and Rhea pulled the hands out from under Charlotte, and Asuka ended up winning. And they're like, hey, Asuka won, cheer. And I went, no, she cheated, right? Well, like, Asuka didn't cheat, but Rhea cheated. I'm not going to cheer for the girl who cheated, right? I'm not going to cheer for Rhea and Asuka when they cheated to beat Charlotte. I'm gonna cheer Charlotte when they showed her. And I was really just doing it because I was curious if I went against their commands, would they cut me? But they didn't. They didn't actually cut me.
It's the end of the show. You want to see if you could get kicked before it was over.
That's exactly what I was doing.
I don't blame you.
That's what I was doing. I was waiting till the end. I was gonna see if I could get kicked off by cheering the heel and booing the face.
Did you cheer when Charlotte was beating up the referees?
No, I did not. That part I'm like, well, I can't do that.
Well, you should have to see if you could get kicked.
I should have, in retrospect, to see if I could accomplish the goal. But no, they didn't get it. And I saw, I was kind of paying attention to, like, you start to pick out characters. Like, there was one guy on the far side of the ring who had a Fiend mask on, and he just kind of like stared into the camera the whole time. Like, he didn't really respond, but obviously he was in character. They had another guy that was in a referee's shirt, and he was like acting out the pins as they were happening. And those guys stayed on screen the whole time. So I don't know that they rotate as much out as they said they were going to. Or the other part is, I don't wonder if they kick out people who look bored and they try to rotate in people who are charismatic. Because I'll tell you, like, I was sitting on the couch and I was throwing the fist up in the air and doing the bro chant with Riddle and all that. So I wonder if they keep the people who are enthusiastic but dump the people who are just kind of staring into their computer screen. Either way, I did it. I was in there. It was cool. I'm probably not going to do it again. It didn't really it wasn't like something I was going to stand out and be like, oh, I was in the Thunderdome. How about that? Cool. I watched Raw on my computer instead of on my 55-inch TV.
So if you are someone who naturally looks bored, no matter how excited you are, you shouldn't even try because they're just not going to keep you.
I think that from my understanding, because I once I got in, I was kind of researching about other people who've had the experience, and I only saw a couple of people who got kicked. And usually, if they're going to kick you, they put out a thing of, all right, guys, we're going to rotate some new audience members in here, blah, blah, blah. I don't specifically know if it's that they kick out people who are unenthusiastic and are just kind of watching it. But like I said, I saw last night that the folks who were characters that really stood out in the Thunderdome, for the most part, seem to be in there the whole time. So anyway, just my experience. Some of you might enjoy it.
I was going to say, when they first started, I know they had some problems and maybe this is a result of what they had to deal with when they first started doing this, because there were people on there doing some things that they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
There were flags and backgrounds. There were just a ton of things. A lot of creepy clowns, as I recall, which I didn't have a problem with, but apparently it bothered some other people. So
you leave Doink alone.
Yeah, well, these were more Pennywise type clowns than they were Doink. So, so maybe this is the point they've reached after doing this for so long. Maybe it wasn't like this when they first started.
Yeah, it like I said, it was interesting, but at the end of the day, I was just watching Raw. That was it. All right, quick break, come back. One more segment, then we'll hit Twitter trending topics and call it a day. It's Tuesday on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
The powers that be entered the room for a little while.
The powers that be.
Yes.
Hey, you know that retired football player Luke Kuechly, who we watched play for so many years in Carolina?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, he's 6 years younger than I am. So that's cool. I'm having an existential crisis today, though.
He's also probably like 50 times as rich as you are.
Oh, easy. Oh, 50. 50. 50.
I don't know how much you make. I was giving you some credit.
It's way too much.
See your email?
Let's check the old Amanda. Promote 1 time per hour. Okay. Yep. Got it.
My wife is just message, Luke is the man, which last time I was at training camp, and every time I was at training camp, she wanted to make sure that I took pictures of Luke Kuechly.
Dude, even as a Saints fan, I loved Luke Kuechly. That dude was just old school linebacker, and I loved it.
His problem was he played too hard.
Yep. So what's our next Marvel movie? Black Widow? Yeah, Black Widow.
I believe so.
So we got Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Eternals, Spider-Man, No Way Home are all released this year. Next year, we get Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, then Thor, Love and Thunder, then Black Panther 2, and then Captain Marvel 2.
Golf cart in the next week.
Okay. How much time we got left, Zoe?
1.5 minutes.
Standing. Because something has just dropped that I'm going to have to watch. So we might be getting an Office reunion.
I see your message, Stephen, but Captain America has always been about that. It bothers me too, but I think the payoff will be worth it. You should at least watch the final episode.
I'm done with Falcon and Winter. So yeah, I was going to say, Stephen, with all due respect, if you don't like politics in your comics, Captain America is not for you. It's literally always been the central selling point of Captain America. Also, and this is where
when Sam Wilson doesn't listen to other people and puts on that suit, he's going to put on the suit. You know that's what's in the case.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see what it looks like.
Yeah, Captain America has always been about politics, and the story they're telling with Isaiah is one of the most popular Captain America lines of all time, where this actually was a storyline in Captain America. So it's nothing new. They are telling a story that has been a Captain America story for many, many years.
You know what they're doing also? They're putting the pressure on Sam from both sides.
Yep.
Of people not wanting him to put it on. The government doesn't want him to. Isaiah doesn't want him to because of what was done to him. And Sam's going to do the right thing. I got to believe it.
Ironically enough, the only person who does want him to is Bucky.
He's not messing around. Real, unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show. ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. One more segment before we get to Twitter trending topics. To wrap it up, South Carolina held one of their last 3 practices of the spring season yesterday. We've got a full practice report from Greg Hadley and Ben Portnoy of the State. They were at the practice. They reported that South Carolina's quarterback rotation has pretty much gotten consistent at this point. Luke Doty, the sophomore, taking first-team reps during short passing drills. Freshman Colton Gauthier and redshirt sophomore Connor Jordan were your second and third stringers. FCS transfer Jason Brown from St. Francis was the 4th QB in the rotation. Redshirt junior receiver Takarion Joyner and senior safety R.J. Roderick both wore the blue non-contact jerseys. Both Joyner and Roderick did run through non-contact drills with their position groups. However, E.J. Jenkins, who transferred to South Carolina from St. Francis alongside Brown, worked with the tight ends again yesterday. Jenkins has been billed as a receiver and a tight end, but continues to spend the majority of his time working out with the tight end group. Running back Kevin Harris headed into the Gamecocks indoor practice facility with the rest of the injured players during positional work. His issue was not immediately known, and we have not heard anything more since then. Harris had over 1,100 yards and notched 15 touchdowns over a season ago, but he was out. We will see if he practices anymore the rest of the week and if he is available for the spring game on Saturday. Former four-star tailback Marshawn Lloyd also did not appear at the open portion of practice. Lloyd continues to rehab from that torn ACL that ended his 2020 season before it started. While Harris and Lloyd did not participate in drills open to reporters, those running backs present worked through 5-yard out routes and checkdowns with the quarterbacks. And that is that's something to be interested and to keep an eye on. We know that Shane Beamer came from Lincoln Riley's air raid offense there at OU. And one of the things that is biggest about Lincoln Riley's offense, was that it leans very heavily on short routes for running backs out of the backfield, not as an escape route, but as an option, as a read, as in the quarterback doesn't read 1, 2, 3, 4 down the field and then check down to 5. But actually, sometimes those running back routes might be the second or third progression that he looks into. So all 5 running backs taking a lot of quick out routes from the backfield. Special teams has been an area of concern and emphasis. Pete Lambeau, the team's new coordinator for special teams, continue to work out with both the offensive and defensive players on that area of the game, particularly focused on kick coverage. Linebacker Sherrod Green and Mo Kaba, along with defensive lineman Jabari Ellis and offensive lineman Ja'Kai Moore, watched the stretching portion of practice from the indoor facility where injured players typically rehab during practice. A number of offensive players were not in full pads during warmups, including wide receivers Amarian Brown, Sam Reynolds, and Rendrakus Davis. Former Gamecock offensive lineman Blake Camper, who has spent time with the Chargers and the CFL's Toronto Argonauts, was spotted at practice. We don't know if he's just there hanging out or if he has any role with the team. And assistant coach Mike Peterson has been tasked with coaching outside linebackers and defensive ends. That group was pretty small on the field on Tuesday. He was working with just 4 players: Jordan Birch, Tyreek Johnson, Rodriguez Fitton, and Sean McGonigal were the only ones working out in that group. So there's some practice notes. Hopefully we'll have a little bit better feel. I'm actually going to be watching last Saturday's scrimmage after we get off the air today. And then again, we'll, fingers crossed, be at the spring game on Saturday coming up for you on Monday. All right, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307, the Ingles Market text line. Start your text with ESPN. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute and wrap it all up with Twitter trending topics. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
The best deal for golfers in the Upstate is back and better than ever. Assembled 9 premier Upstate golf courses on the 2021 Upstate Golf Cart for just $99. That's over $450 worth of golf for just $99. Over a 75% discount. For only $99, listeners can purchase the golf carts and get a round of golf at the Preserve at Verde, Pebble Creek, Legacy Pines, the Rock Golf Club and Resort, Carolina Springs, Willow Creek, the Links of Tryon, Rolling Green Golf Club, and new on the club this year, the club at Brookstone. This is a $450 value. You're getting it for $99, a 75+% discount. Greens fees at 9 prestigious Upstate golf courses. That is less than $15 around, less than $1 a hole. Check out the website at upstategolfcard.com to learn more. That's upstategolfcard.com. Steven, what do you mean? I agree it was a little overboard with that white man's shield. Just my opinion. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You talking about taking the shield away from Walker? You're saying they went too a little overboard by taking the shield away from New Cap? Is that what you mean? I'm confused what you mean. Now all of you get to watch this together with me.
Well, I don't have coworkers anymore. I have subordinates. So, I've gotten along with my subordinates. Let's see. My supplier relations rep, Meredith Palmer, is the only person I know who knows how to properly headbang to Motorhead.
Call me into a little bit. I mean, an assistant CEO.
Assistant to the CEO.
You know, I'm pretty sure the guy on the phone's an assistant CEO.
Martinez, my accountant, is now godfather to my son. Angela Schrute, my former accountant, is now my wife.
Do I know you?
My top salesman, Jim Halpert, was best man at my wedding. And office administrator, Pamela Beasley Halpert, is my best friend. So, yes, I'd say I have gotten along with my subordinates.
I feel like this is just clips tied together. I don't think we're doing anything special here.
Good old days before you've actually left them.
Imagine going back and watching a tape of your life. You guys gave that to me.
All in all, I think an ordinary paper company like Dunder Mifflin was a great subject.
Oh, Pam and her Pams.
There's a lot of beauty in ordinary things. Isn't that kind of the point?
Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of The Office.
Oh my God.
So we're not doing. You just. Oh, we got. This is a tease.
Now to our entertainment correspondent, Steve Carell. Steve, is this working?
Can you do like a holiday party? Like, how often can you see them?
I mean, I haven't seen everybody together.
Yeah.
I mean, I see people from time to time, here and there. We're all planning to have and we'll probably have to plan it like a year in advance.
Yeah.
Everybody can clear their schedule and get together and have a big blowout.
Really? Don't be a tease, Peacock. Don't be a tease. I guess we'll find out.
So what they're telling you is they want to do it. And usually if they want to do it, they do it.
When they were sitting down and he said that white man shield reference. But you've got to understand the anger from Isaiah, right? The dude was put in prison for 30 years.
And experimented on the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah, they were taking his blood.
Yeah, if you don't understand why he would have been angry about that, I would respectfully submit that you should go back and watch that scene again. They took his wife, they took his life, they put him in prison for 30 years, and then they gave the shield to somebody else.
And all this is proving why Sam is the guy who needs to be Captain America, because he can get past all that stuff and do the right thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bridge that gap. That's exactly the point. Yeah. If you took offense to that, Stephen, with all due respect, I would suggest you watch that scene again and listen to the torment that they put on.
Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, it is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and he will tell us exactly why it is trending. The first thing that is trending is 420.
Gosh, I couldn't possibly. Wait, let me try that again. Dude.
Bro.
420 trending. To those of you that celebrate, happy 420. I hope that your day is as good as what was I talking about? Oh,
okay.
Funyuns.
Well, what you might be talking about is the second thing trending, which is related, and that's Taco Tuesday.
Okay, listen, Taco Tuesday stands on its own accord, regardless of whether or not you have decided to imbibe in the hippie lettuce or not. Taco Tuesday is an incredible day, and so I fully suggest that on your way home today, you stop at the nearest available taco truck, pick up about 10 dozen tacos, bring them home, and make your family very happy.
Hey, someday.
Today is Taco Tuesday.
Someday.
Today.
Well, no, I already know what I'm having for supper, so I can't do that.
taco truck tacos.
We're having ribs for supper tonight. So you know.
You can make pork tacos.
I could do that.
Shred the ribs, put them on a taco.
Could do that, but you know, my wife is cooking ribs tonight, and I'm going to enjoy them. Now, next Tuesday, that's totally different. From what I understand, there's a Tuesday every week, so I got another shot at this.
Turns out that is correct.
All right, the next thing trending, and it's not because you posted, because I had this already. The Zion one.
So yes, and I'm gonna scream about this later. In fact, I'll do it now. I got 6 minutes. What the hell? Zion Williamson's brand new shoes have dropped, and dear every media member and NBA head around the world, the argument, well, nobody's gonna give shoe lines to people in markets like New Orleans. Shut your stupid face hole. Shut up. You're dumb. And now you're not only are you dumb, but now you're dumb and you're wrong. You're dumb and you're wrong. You're dumb and you're wrong. Eat it. All right? Zion got his shoe. Zion is on every NBA promotional magnet, television, sticker, calendar, and every other paraphernalia that the NBA puts out. Zion's right there on top, posterizing everybody on your stupid team. All right? So can we stop? I looked yesterday. Zion got asked after the game against the Knicks earlier on the weekend, on Sunday. Zion and the Pelicans lost to the Knicks in overtime. The Knicks are surging right now, by the way. It's kind of impressive under Tom Thibodeau. So Zion and them losing overtime. And after the game, somebody, because the media sucks, said the media, somebody said to Zion, if you ever got to play in New York, would you take the chance? And Zion said, what I thought was harmlessly, Zion said, hey, New York, and I quote Lonzo, other than New Orleans, New York is my favorite place to play basketball. And what did the media narrative turn into, Lonzo?
Zion says his favorite place to play basketball is New York.
Zion can't wait to be a Knick. Zion's begging to get out of it. He can't wait to be in New York. He can't wait to play. Shut up. That's not what he said. And you know it. Can't you just let us little guys be? We finally got a generational talent that apparently wants to be there, that we can build the team around, that is pointed in the right direction, even if we only got a 7% chance to make the playoffs this year. Shut up. Nobody asked you. All right? Can't you just let us be? If he wants to leave after his rookie contract, let him leave. But can you stop trying to force him out? At least let us get through his contract and see if we can do enough to convince him to leave. Oh, my word. Man, basketball ticks me off.
Let me just quote Rob Brown and say, shut your face hole. Because
your stupid face hole.
Stupid. I forgot the stupid part. If you're going to quote someone, you should do it correctly. And I apologize. Shut your stupid face hole. There we go. All right. The next thing trending is Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark. Don't know why she's trending, but here's what I'm going to say. The other day, last week.
You're going to love this, by the way, but go ahead.
Great. I'm in. So I'll say this part, and then you tell me why it's actually trending. The other week, HBO on their official Twitter account dropped, "Winter is coming." Zoe, you know what I said to them in an actual tweet? I said, shut your stupid face hole, because that's dumb. You ruined it. You tanked it. Nobody wants to go through it again. Nobody's rewatching your stupid show. You built up 6 years of our lives, and then you just absolutely farted all over our love for Game of Thrones. I don't care, HBO. You lost my money. You lost me. Shut up.
All right. Amelia Clark is trending because she's going to be in Marvel's Secret Invasion.
I'm excited about Secret Invasion.
A lot of people signing on for this project. I am excited about it too. And Marvel's and Disney, for that matter, they've done pretty well the last couple series that they put out.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty excited about it, because if we really do get the full Kree Skull Wars, the other thing that does that I'm really excited about, Zoe, is it will let the heroes that are in there, to let those actors, they got the potential to play both sides, right? Like they could play their character as a bad guy. I'm excited about it. I think it's got potential. I love Amelia Clark. She's great. She was a great Daenerys Targaryen until they completely screwed up Game of Thrones. HBO, shut your stupid face holes.
All right, we have time for one last thing. I haven't narrowed down to two, but I'm just going to go with herpes.
I knew it. I have nothing, Zoe. This is it. I've been doing Twitter trending topics for 8 years. Ordinarily, even if it's something uncomfortable, I can come up with something. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say.
And again, it's trending with politics. And you know what? I didn't even look.
I'm not going to.
I didn't even look.
I'm not going to. I have no interest. I'm not putting that in my Google history. That's it for the show. Offsides with Mark Ryan is up next. Stay tuned for that. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. We'll be back tomorrow to try all over again right here on The Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. Later.